questions have come in. So I have a question here for Osaze. So I think there were a number of questions around, one of them was around like, the goal setting templates, the goal setting and the planning that you shared. Number one, what advice would you give a client who is struggling with execution or implementation, even after developing a feasible action plan? Because obviously without any execution, if the execution and implementation is shabby or poor, the milestones may not be achieved. So what kind of advice would you give for someone who is struggling with execution or implementation?
Yeah, I would say thanks so much for whoever sent that question. I think the most important part is you have an action plan. If you're able to document that action plan, if you're having challenges in executing, then you probably would need to connect with an individual or someone that can actually support you in holding you accountable in getting that done. Because it's your action plan. You need to be, it's almost like me telling myself, I'm going to make sure tomorrow morning I wake up 5 o'clock, go to the gym. I'm going to write it down. But if I have an accountability partner that hits me on the bed, like, get up, go, then it might not be implemented. So if you are having issues implementing, you need an accountability partner, you need a mentor, you need a coach, you need someone to support you if you're not able to do that yourself. That would be my recommendation. The first part of that is that you already have a plan, which is the toughest part. You have a plan documented, which is actually the toughest part, of which you already have done. So the implementation part should actually be the easiest part. So I'm happy for you, whoever sent that question. You've handled the toughest part already. The second part now will be just get someone that will be your accountability partner, someone that will be able to, follow up with you and ensure that you are, implementing your action plan and the steps you want to take to be able to accomplish your, career objectives or your goals.
That was amazing. Very well said. And yeah, I completely, concur with you on that. So I think one of the very big things as well is a number of times we would, whenever we tell someone that we're going to do something, we're more likely going to do it. But if we say to ourselves, I'm going to do it, it's almost easy for us to give up on ourselves. Right? But we most likely will not give up on other people, especially when we've committed. And I think that's what accountability and coaching helps with. So that was a very good answer for sure.
I'll give another analogy quickly, Franklin. I'll jump in again quickly. I do register for some for runs, for races, officially every year. So I always tell him I have a buddy that also does the same thing. He can hold himself accountable by just going. He doesn't want anybody to reach out like, hey, how did the run go? Because he can decide to abandon it. He can decide, you know what, I paid for it. I'm not going to go. I'm going to probably take my time. I don't want to get my PR. But what I do is, before I start, it's all over Instagram. It's all over WhatsApp. I'm already holding myself accountable that even while I'm in that journey, mentally, I'm telling myself, Zola is going to call me like, hey, wait, where are the results? Like, where is the post after? So that is a way of me telling myself, I already shared this with the world. I need to finish at this time, right? That's what brings my mind when I'm in that particular journey. And that's what's telling me when I'm supposed to stop. Like, oh man, I'm tired. Like, my body's telling me, hey, Zola is going to ask you, buddy, I didn't see your results, right? So you have to hold yourself accountable. You have to share to people. You have to let people know that, okay, this is what I'm planning to do, right? And then it's not just on you to just bow out. Someone is out there watching you to tell you, hey, what happened? So that's like a follow-up to that question.
Awesome. Yeah, very, very good. Thank you very much, Osaze. And I think I have a question. This one's more likely going to be directed towards Ruth. So someone is asking, like, how do you deal with being efficient under pressure? What steps would you suggest taking to change the habits so that you can get things done at a reasonable pace and still be efficient? And the person says they think they can be too much distracted at times. So do you want to share anything?
Yes, of course. Being a person under pressure. Yes, it can be really, really hard. But then when it comes to working under pressure, well, you said, can you restate the first part, please?
Yeah,
Mhm.
sure. So how to deal with being patient under pressure
Okay, 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 okay.
and what steps to change the habits so that you're able to get things done in a reasonable fashion and still be efficient under pressure.
Okay, so basically, again, just like it was said before, it's important to at the first step is to recognize that there is a problem that it needs to change, or like maybe it's not a problem because it's a big word. Like you need to recognize the feeling that you're having right now, and then yes, it's pain, but then again, it's okay. We can move past it. And I said it on the in the during my presentation, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? So basically, you move past it. There are situations that are high pressure, and again, it's normal. And now, how do I deal with it? Now it's all about prioritizing and prioritizing and focus on what's important, what's the most important um, um, uh, steps that well what's the most important task that you have to do. So I know
Mhm.
that during your presentation, Osaze, you talked about small steps and small habits, small things that you can do to make sure that like instead of focusing on big steps, this is the most important thing. So breaking down the steps, and then yes, it can hurt, yes, it can you can feel pain, but then again, as long as like you do it, you break it down, it can be easier. And then have accountability partner too. Have someone talk about it. Have community. Be sure that you're with like-minded people around you. So basically, the other people that are going through the same things, to make sure that like you're not alone in this. They can help you. Navigate through the situation. Make sure that like you take breaks. I'm gonna go back with the break. Take breaks, breathe, see where you're at right now, like understand what your body is feeling right now, and embrace as like I said before, like flexibility and change and adaptability. Yes, it does hurt, yes, it's painful, yes, it's high pressure, but then again, the second that like you under that you take the time to like understand everything that's all the situation, you'll be able to effectively um, uh, go through it. And if you are not successful at the job or what you're doing right now, self-compassion is really important. Make sure that you don't beat yourself up too much, and then again move past it. Now you understand what was the mistake that you made. You will never gonna do it again. Don't be afraid of failure. It's a stepstone to success. And again, seek mentorship like Osaze said, but then also feedback and support. Don't be afraid of constructive criticism. You got this.
All right, absolutely. Thank you very much for sharing that. And I think just adding to what you said, sometimes it feels like it's a people wear it as a badge of honor that, oh, I do well under pressure. But I think to some degree, it may not always be like a healthy thing to feel that, okay, you have to always put yourself under, especially unduly pressure because you want to really test yourself. But yeah, just going back to what Ruth says, we definitely want to be able to have that self-compassion and don't maybe take on more than you can also handle at different cases. Also going back to the boundaries, know when to say no. If something is too much for you that you cannot take on, yeah, just let it know. I think it's going to be very beneficial as well in that regard. So thank you very much for sharing that. And then, okay, so first of all, I want to state, I know that the events, based on the advertisement, I know it says we're going to end around 4:15. I just want to ask for a little more time just so we can do some more questions. But bear with me. I just want to point that out as well because I like also stick to time too, but just bear with me. We'll be ramping up very shortly as well. All right. So in terms of the question, so someone is asking, what should your expectations be when you reach out to someone you want to connect with, or how should you respond when someone wants to connect with you? I think this is more so like a matter of how to set expectations, right? Because you know how sometimes not everybody may be willing to connect, but what should your expectation be going into like a networking event? I think this one is more so going to be for Osaze. Any words?
Yeah, so what should be your reaction? Say that
Expectation.
again. Expectation?
What should be your expectation going into like a networking event where you're going to meet with people, also knowing that not everybody may want to connect with you, perhaps.
Yeah, so that's why I use the word network strategically. You're going to an event, you need to be sure who do you want to meet at that event. You're not just going to an event of 1,000 people, 500 people, a crowd that go there, take notes, pack your bag, and reach out to someone that probably might not be the right person you need to be talking to. So when you're networking strategically, yes, by all means, reach out, mingle, mix with everybody, but you need to go to that event knowing fully well is Franklin Ezenwa going to be there. That's my target. That's who I need to go talk to, right? And when you also going there to go have that conversation, that's why I say it's a two-way thing. You are not just going there to say, okay, hey, Mr. Franklin Ezenwa, my name is this. I need your help. I need a job. Franklin's like, what pitch is that? So you also need to be prepared and know that, okay, I'm going to go meet this person. This is my target. This is my plan for this event. You need to also prepare yourself, like that elevator pitch we talked about, practice. So when you are meeting that person, again, by all means, I'm not saying it's going to be 100% guaranteed, but at least you have a more probability of having that next conversation than you going in there, not talking to the right person, not prepared to really speak to the right person, not prepared even when you are meeting the right person, then there's more chances that you didn't make an impression. Imagine that person is meeting 10, 15 people, 20 people in an event. Why would they want to talk to you on LinkedIn when you couldn't even present yourself, like, made a very wrong impression in the first instance? So it's very important that you prepare yourself. And that also ties back to LinkedIn. There are so many messages on LinkedIn. You can tell it's a generic message. The generic message, like, does that person really expect a reply to a generic message for networking? Maybe not. But if you send a message to someone and the person knows you actually wrote it, like that's me, I speak for myself, I would definitely reply because you took the time, you were intentional, you wrote what you wanted, and you reached out. I'm going to make out time for you. But if you send me a LinkedIn message that is general, how are you doing? I don't need to respond back to you. I'm going to connect with you, but I'm not going to reply. So frankly, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, that sounds really very good. And the person who asked, I hope it was also satisfactory for you as well. All right. So I have a question here for Ruth. So if someone is suffering from some mental health that might prevent them from returning to work, what kind of recommendations do you give to the person, especially as they work towards acceptance, like, accepting this current situation?
Yes, the first thing for sure, it's give yourself some grace. The first step, yes, like it can be hard dealing with mental health challenges and situation, but then give yourself some grace. Like deal with the situation with a lot of compassion because it can be hard, but it's completely normal. Um, um, Find ways to maybe have some reasonable accommodation from work, from the different and you can find it with different interactions, basically with looking up with your colleagues, maybe when it comes to your boss and HR department. Like, take the time to look for how to you can for accommodation, because there's accommodation everywhere. Honestly, like, the world was made to make sure that, like, not only inclusive, it's inclusive, but then again, if they reject you because you want accommodation, you can go and fight for your rights, because honestly, you have all the right in the world to make sure that you are well, you feel safe in a job, you feel good in a job, accepted in a workplace. And if you don't, there's you can fight it with your HR, or maybe you can and when I talk about accommodation, it can be flexible work hours, it can be reduced workload, it can be maybe a remote work. Like, ask for the remote work if you can, ask for extended time leave. I don't know. Please make sure that you have accommodation. You can also when it comes to going back to work, you don't have to go all in, right? You can take 2 days, and then it can be 3 days, after it can be 5 days. Take the time for yourself, and making sure that you feel safe or good and well, completely to go back to work. I'm looking at the chat at the same time, by the way. And there's also support. Find support, professional support, and again, friends, work friends, family. Make sure that you're not alone in this. Talk about how you're feeling and everything. Yes, I see EAPs. It's really important, and there's also confidential counseling with the EAPs. So make sure that you go and you ask them questions. And when I say confidential, like, you don't have to say your name. You just ask questions, and then you leave. Sometimes it can make you feel better to have like a counselor, a therapist that can help you through it all. Make sure that you have regular check-ins with yourself and with others around you, to make sure that, again, you're not alone in this. It's all about having community. It's all about having support and help, and again, assistance when it comes to all of this. I talked about boundaries. You know, again, no is a complete sentence. You don't have to have more. You don't have to have more explanation. Someone asked about if you don't have your union. Yes, please, please, please. Even if you don't have your union, there's a lot of different resources out there that can help you. Community centers, you can reach out, and you can reach out to 211 here in Ottawa, in Canada. There's 211, and that can help you with that. And make sure that you have a financial advisor too, because can be hard out here without money, right? And even if money doesn't buy happiness or anything, it can still buy support sometimes. It can still buy a lot of different things. So financial advisors, mentors to help you navigate the situation, this challenging situation, can be really important. So yeah, please, again, the first thing is give yourself some grace. A lot of people are going through the exact same thing you're going through. And guess what? Maybe you want to go back to work. There's others that are not even ready to do that. So again, like, I applaud you for the fact that you're able to do so. That's it.
Wow, that's really very good. Thanks to the person. Thanks for answering, Ruth, and I hope this helped someone. So we'll just take one more round of questions for both of you, and then we should be calling it a day. Thanks for everyone who stuck around as well. So this one is going to Osaze. I know you talked about mentorship and sponsorship. So someone shared how how do you recover from a bad experience, say with a mentor or a sponsor? How do you recover from it, and how do you move on? What are your suggestions or your points on that?
Yeah, so it's I'll probably relate that to a breakup. How do you recover from a breakup? You have to think about the next step. It's easier said than done. I can easily just say now, like, okay, you know what, find a new mentor. Maybe the reason why that happened was there wasn't the right, you probably didn't set the right expectation based on that relationship. Because if you got a mentor, again, I'm not by all means not saying it's always perfect every time. It could be that it's always more like it could be that the mentor doesn't really understand what mentor is, but says I'm a mentor. But it's when you set the expectation, the mentee should be able to determine, you know what, I have this relationship with this person. I don't think this person is actually the right fit for me, and walk away. So if you are not able to identify that your mentor is not the right fit and person was stringing you along for so long and wasted your time, 3 years, 4 years, or two, like whatever, and now you feel very bad, I would say, that was a bad experience, but get a new mentor. And by all means, it doesn't mean you have to have one mentor. This is not like a relationship where you have to stick to the one partner, right? So the analogy was more about dating. They always use the word mentorship as will you be my girlfriend? Will you be my boyfriend? Will you be my partner? Blah blah blah. But this is not like you cheating on your mentor, because you can have as many as you want. So why would one person not being a good mentor stop your journey? You can have 5 mentors still guiding you on your career objectives. So what I would recommend for that individual is to have as many mentors as possible, as long as those mentors are actually guiding you to that particular next step and advancing your career. Then one person dropping off doesn't change your plan. It doesn't impact your progress. Hopefully that answers that question, and hopefully that person can get more mentors. Like, it's not the end of the world. If you said sponsorship now, I'm like, oh, you built that relationship for so long, and that person is almost like, okay, now the person needs to elevate you. And again, sponsors, you can have many sponsors too, right?
Right.
Mentorship is it's harder to get the sponsors are a bit more like a very narrow funnel, because you're really sure this person has influence. Again, I know somebody put on the chat earlier that a sponsor doesn't, and maybe I'll correct that too for myself. The sponsor doesn't have to be an executive or someone at the top. You can be a sponsor based on your particular where you are. You have influence, but the word here is influence. You must have influence. It could be a lower level role, it could be a management role, it could be a senior, but you have influence in that position to be able to say Franklin is a person, and nobody's gonna question you, right? So to that person, get as many mentors as possible that aligns with your vision and your goal.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much. No, absolutely. I like the the analogy you put in terms of tying that to dating. I believe in having multiple mentors. Like, I actually do, multiple people that I seek for advice in different areas of my life, and also with terms people that I learn from with coaching. So I believe that that really makes a lot of sense. Not just tying ourselves down to just one person. Also, when we're looking to explore who to pick as a mentor, I think it helps to not lock ourselves in for long period of time, because I think it just helps to explore, dating, quote unquote. So explore how well do I really like this person? Is this person the kind of person that I would like to even work with? So I think it always helps to start small with short period of time, and then if you see that this is an amazing person that really you guys you match very well, then yeah, by all means you can extend it. But I think it always helps to shorten the period, the trial period, have a trial period, quote unquote. All right, awesome. So I just have Osaze. So just talking about mentorship, because we just discussed this, would you also want to share, in your own opinion, what are some of, let's just say, keep it to top 3 to 4 qualities or traits to look for in a good mentor? Somebody asked the question as well. So before we move on, if I move on to Ruth, the last question.
Yeah.
What are the top qualities or traits would you consider people looking out for when they are trying to get a mentor or a sponsor or a mentor?
Yeah, I would say someone that can you hear me? Okay. I would
Yeah.
say someone that has empathy. Very important because person understands you and relates to the challenges you might be facing. They can support you. The person actively listening. So actively listens to you. So what that means is that the person hears you. It's not like a mentor telling you, okay, I think Ruth-Mirca, you need to be doing this. You've not listened to me. I just showed you my career development plan. I showed you my skill set. I showed you where I want to go. But you're telling me, no, go this way. So the person is not listening. The mentor has to have experience. So you can't really give what you don't have. And I'll probably say you said 4, maybe the mentor has to also give constructive feedback. It has to be honest, it has to be constructive, and in a way not to discourage the mentee, because helping the mentee identify areas for improvement when you're providing that feedback, telling them, hey, this is an opportunity for you. So again, lack of, you don't want to use the word gap. You don't want to tell a mentee this is a gap. You want to tell, okay, this is an opportunity for you to improve without getting them discouraged. So constructive feedback is very important. I just gave you 4. I don't know if you need more.
You can add one more.
That's probably fine. I should add one more.
You can just add one bonus.
Yeah. And I would probably say, again, this is pretty close to being actively listening to the mentee. They also need to be patient, right? Because as a mentee, you're probably just starting from the bottom, or you're probably just starting this journey. So the mentor needs to understand that growth takes time. They are willing to invest in you. They are willing to develop you, take you from ground 0 to 10, rather than expecting you to just be an expert. Like that's the reason why you are asking for that relationship, because you need help. So they need to be very patient and take you through that journey. And that's 5, Franklin. You want more?
Now that's really very good. That's very, very good. And then just still on this, someone is also like trying to, is networking a good way to find a personal mentor, or what would you suggest? Just really very quickly. What do you think?
Yeah, everywhere you can get a mentor, you take advantage of it. Like,
Right.
But again, you need to know who that mentor is. So if you're saying networking and you have prior knowledge who that person is, and that person is your target, then you reach out to that person, you do an introduction, then that's an introduction. Then you start dating, you start knowing each other, relationship builds up, and then you can ask, okay, what, based on what you've seen, this person actually qualifies to be a mentor. Then you cannot ask for that. It's almost like a symbiotic relationship, and you can just what, can we just continue? You're already guiding me. Can we make this official? You don't even need to say make it official. I always use this word, like, will you be my girlfriend? Like you just gradually start having those conversations, and then you ask, and then it aligns, and then you continue that conversation, you continue that journey. And when you feel that journey needs to also end, it also ends, gravitates to a different mentor, right? So every step of the way.
Yeah, that's really very good. I like the analogy. You can just be like, can we be more than friends now?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, that's really very good. But yeah, those traits that you mentioned, very, very important. Like the person really you need to know that the person cares for you. The person wants to see you succeed, and the person wants to see you excel. And they also are very, they have empathy towards you. It's not just, because I know there are a number of times, there are certain people, they think they can rise by tearing other people down. And I think that's just not good at all. So also pay attention to that as well. All right, one more question and then we should be done. For Ruth, someone is asking the same way that Osaze provided traits of a good mentor and his mentee. Someone is asking, what are some of the qualities and good traits to look out for when you're looking to get a psychotherapist?
So yeah, no, that's a really good question, because again, not every therapist is going to match with you, right? They can be the best therapist ever in the world, but then they're not your therapist. They're not good for you, right? It's really important to understand, first of all, what are your needs first. And then that's going to help you to see what type of therapist that you need. Obviously, empathy, it's the same thing when it comes to mentorship. You need someone that has empathy, that can understand not even if they don't understand you because they didn't go through the situation, they can make you feel seen. They can make you feel heard, validated, and making sure that you're safe in the situation. Making sure that this person obviously active listening, they're here, they're not like falling asleep while you're talking and they're not like thinking about other things, because again, you need to also understand that therapists are humans too, you know, they're people too, they have their own families and they have their own situation, but then they can still like make sure that when they're here for you, they're present, they have emotional intelligence. That's so important when it comes to mentorship or therapy for a therapist, because emotional intelligence is not only like the way you understand your emotions, but it's also the way you make people feel around you, right? And there's people that know how, there's people that understand that they make people feel a certain ways around them, but then they don't know how to control that too. So basically, you're in a situation with a therapist that is listening to a story. For example, I'm a sexual assault, like that's my domain. So basically, I hear someone talking about sexual abuse, and if my situation, I was not thank God I was not a survivor of sexual assault. But then again, if I was, again, I start crying with the person. Well, no, you can't. Even if you do, you have to acknowledge why you're crying and you have to talk about it. You have to address it. But then again, you have to make sure that you're here and present for the person emotionally. Again, I'm talking fast because I know it's there's time. And have a strong ethical boundaries. That's so important when it comes to therapists. They need to be able to make sure that they don't contact you outside of work. They need to make sure that you feel like when you're outside in the street, they don't like hi, like it can break confidentiality. You have to make sure that you see someone that's not gossiping or talking to you about other clients, talking to you about certain things that they're not supposed to talk to. You do not want to talk about your partner right now while they don't bring it up, or if they bring it up, there's a plan for it. They explain it and they tell you about it. They have a strong communication skills, because it can be really troublesome if they don't. I have to say, cultural competencies and cultural awareness and sensitivity. I say cultural, but then also religion when it comes to faith, also when it comes to every type of diversity, equitability, and accessibility, etc. Like they need to be aware and they need to be in tune with that. Because honestly, like if one day you are struggling with something, and I don't know, they need to be really in tune with, like when it comes to diversity, accessibility, equity, etc. And yes, they can address anything. And if finally, self-awareness. Okay, self-awareness. You know when the your therapist is not self-aware. They can say anything at any time. They can be all really disrespectful at times too. Again, they're humans, right? So again, if you don't feel like your therapist is the good therapist for you, it's okay. And again, it is okay. There's a lot of different therapists out there. If you're someone that is that if you're a Black person and then you want to find a Black therapist, but then you feel like your Black therapist that you found is not the right one for you, it's okay. There's other Black therapists there. If you're someone that is Christian and that wants faith-based advices, I found that even if you don't find someone that's Christian, the same religion as you, someone that's another religion can give you as great faith-based advice as well. If you find, so again, just explore. There's a lot of resources out there to help you in that sense. So please, please, please don't give up on yourself when it comes to finding a good therapist.
Wow, that's loaded. I hope that was valuable to the person who asked the question. Hope you are very, very valuable and insightful. I hope you're able to pick some things from there. All right. Thank you so much. That kind of wraps up our session for the question and answer. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who stuck around. I hope you also found this really very valuable.